I was wandering around the local shopping mall and, as always, was keeping my eyes open for ladies wearing nice heels. I noticed this well-dressed young woman about 24 or so at a counter in one of the stores paying for her stuff. As I got closer, I realized she was standing up on her toes as she looked over the counter. Apparently, she knew the worker there, probably a co-worker. Well, I noticed how the heels of her brownish-colored pumps came up off the floor. Well, she was in a perfect position for me to sacrifice my finger. I knelt down to look at something on the counter behind her and sort of leaned back on my arm so my right pinky fingertip was right under the heel tip of her right pump. Well, just seconds after placing my finger down, with her heel just 3/4 inch off the floor, her heel tip slowly came down onto my fingertip. And gradually she applied more weight until she was standing naturally on both feet. The weight seemed to increase some, then relax a little. She was gradually shifting her balance between her 2 feet as she talked with the cashier. A couple of times her weight was so much that it seemed like a heat wave shot through me. I was even sweating. My fingertip felt like it might take an hour to expand back to normal size after it ever got out from under her heel. During this time, I was concerned that another customer might walk up to pay or just walk by to exit the store. Well, I was elusive that no one did. I was able to enjoy all of this dolly/o interruption. Actually, I began to wonder how long this would go. Could it go on until someone actually did walk by? It seemed that she and the cashier were enjoying their conversation. Well, eventually, her heel tip was lifted up, and I found myself not wanting to move my hurting, throbbing finger. And her heel tip moved slightly to the side of my finger, and she stood normally on the floor. Then a few seconds later, she said something really softly and leaned up again, this time lifting both heels. I maneuvered my same fingertip, and this time also my first fingertip under the other heel. I thought, man, this is gutsy. I might be found out this time. Well, before she stood back onto my fingers, she twisted some and her heel tips missed my fingers easily, but she was on her way out now. It would have been nice to get that extra crushing, but it was thrilling to get that tremendous crushing under her heel tip of her nice pump. The heel was about 3 inches high and the heel tips were fairly new. My pinky fingertip had a very defined imprint of her heel tip. My finger was throbbing more than I have ever felt since. It was nice to know this happened, and she never saw it and spoke up, and also that no one else walked by, which would have ruined the experience. I will never forget that pain as it shot through my body. It was like a heat wave, and I was sweating. I never knew that a tremendously crushed fingertip could produce that kind of reaction. What a blast it was. I actually had this feeling of a successful day just by experiencing that. A lot of my first pursuits of trampling were some unknown tramples like this. One important thing was to not risk tripping